Alright guys, at this point in life, I find myself jealous for people who do not spend all their time online, people who don't dig into the culture war or the woke gaming industry or any of this crap. Because for them, the so-called normies, they're just enjoying this game, or they're not. They're playing it going, hey, this isn't as good as the first one, what's the deal? Or they're saying this is the best RPG I've ever played, or they're like, you know what, neither of these games interest me, so I'm not even gonna bother playing them. For the rest of us, though, obviously, if you're watching this video, you're one of us. We are in the middle of this culture war, if you will, over Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, whether or not it's woke, whether or not gay characters make a game woke, whether or not the game is woke because Henry can now be gay. And again, there will be some spoilers in this. If you have not watched anything having to do with his gay love interest, then this is the time to tune out because we're going to talk about it. It's a very big part of this video. However, there's a lot of information that's being thrown around online, a lot of accusations, and we need to get to what the actual truth is, and we may not find the truth by the end of this video, but I think context matters. And unfortunately, a lot of bad actors are going out there spreading information that doesn't have everything backing it up because they don't have they have no basis to start from. They don't have the experience playing the games, they don't care, and so they're just running with this narrative that this game is a certain thing whether or not it's true. So I've said from the very beginning, and I want you guys to make your own opinions, your own determination on whether the game is woke. If you think it's woke because there's a black guy and a gay character, that's your determination. I may not agree with your definition of woke, but I'm not going to tell you to feel a certain way. But I'm just sick and tired of half-truths. I'd love to drill down to the bottom and actually get to the reality of what's going on rather than just speculation. So, Daniel Vavra, somebody who I am not thrilled with the way he's responded to a lot of people. And I think most people at this point, whether you love the guy or hate the guy or think his game's a pile of dog shit, can look at it and say, this dude has spent way too much time online. And the worst part is, he has mostly been feeding the trolls up to this point. This tweet here, going back on January 17th, was one that he put out to try to quell any fears, to definitely calm people down and say, look, here's my statement, the game's got some stuff in it, it all makes sense, don't worry, it's going to be great. From that point on, everything devolved. So of course, I did this article on my own website talking about how we pretty much confirmed that despite Warhorse Studio and Daniel Vavra coming out and saying, there's no ban in any country that we know of, well, I have had people from Saudi Arabia contact me and say, you cannot buy this game on PlayStation. I confirmed it myself, I made my own account. I put it in Saudi Arabia as far as the location goes, couldn't buy the game, you still can't. However, the person that I've been speaking to in Saudi Arabia did say that you can buy the game on Steam. So again, the initial rumor was wrong halfway. It was a half-truth. Yes, the game was banned, but it was banned, it looks like, on PlayStation, not on Steam. Okay, so again, a half-truth there. Then, of course, we have Daniel Vavra attacking critical reviews, after, again, Steam is hiding negative reactions. Now, again, context. Some of the negative reviews that Steam is deleting and hiding are people who played 0.1 hour of the game and then put a bunch of crap in there, basically attacking the character of the people and nothing about the game. That'll instantly get you your reviews, banned or removed on Steam. Also, they told people to pirate the game. Something that breaks Steam's, terms of service, has nothing even to do with play on the publisher or, again, their Steam, moderator or whatever. This was purely something that'll get you your review removed from Steam by Steam's own standards. However, you do see where Daniel Vavra attacked the Games Hub and said, a trusted news source, mission accomplished, we no longer have 90% Metacritic score. Again, if this was anybody besides Daniel Vavra attacking the Access media, I have a very strong feeling most of you would feel differently. You'd be like, yeah, you go get them, go attack those games journalists because they're a bunch of hacks. Unfortunately, Daniel Vavra has shot a lot of friendly fire, attacked a lot of people that were, on his quote-unquote side, and it's led to a lot of people no longer trusting the man. And again, I don't blame you if you're in that camp. I really don't. Smash JT came out and did this video after his own community roasted him for more or less siding with Daniel Vavra, pointing out that there are a lot of hypocrisies, a lot of inconsistencies with the stories, the statements made by Daniel Vavra about no black men in Bohemia, and now he's got a black man in Bohemia. And again, I can wrap my head around the idea, because again, I grew up with Robin Hood with Azim, and of course, I pointed out many times, Kingdom of Heaven is one of these based Christian movies, right? That people always point to as, yeah, we need another crusade, Deus Vult and all that good stuff. And there's a black man traveling with Orlando Bloom's dad in the beginning of the movie, in medieval, Europe. It's like, again, Sometimes people just don't notice because the character just kind of fits naturally, but when there's been this much pushback, obviously there's going to be a lot of people saying, dude, you're woke, you flipped, you're a backstabber, whatever. Okay. So then, of course, we had people floating this rumor, this stupid tweet saying that, you know, this one investor made the game gay and using it as proof that he was bought out. Again, half-truths. A lot of people running with speculation with no evidence to back it up. This has been the most retarded situation I've ever seen in my life. And now websites like IGN, clickbaiting people, trolling people, rage baiting people to get them more pissed off just to read these articles, whether they think it's going to help the sales of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 or hurt it. God only knows what IGN's polling. But you see this tweet here, they originally put out on February 4th, the first video IGN shared about this entire situation. And this is where we're getting to spoiler territory, guys. The medieval world of 1403 Bohemia can be a lonely and dangerous place, so why not make it just that bit more special by romancing everyone's favorite lord, Sir Hans Capon? Now, they then retweeted it twice, this second time here saying, X has Sir Hans fever, and the only cure is more Sir Hans. Again, the reason they're doing this is because they know they've got a hot button issue. They're sitting on like a gold mine here for clickbait, and it's pissing a lot of people off. So again, while I say, yes, I disagree with the idea that you should retcon Henry, they should never have retconned him. They should not have given him the gay option in the second game. I think it's dumb. However, it is what it is. I'm not going to pick the gay option. No big deal. Whatever. I then started playing the game, and it was a little weird. Some awkward tension between Henry and Hans. I will admit it. I've said it. I said it on my live stream. You can go back and watch. The live video is still up on my channel. Then, of course, people get into the question of Hans specifically, which we're going to get into in a minute here. And I do believe that this feels more like shipper crap than a genuine relationship, because this feels like you took two bros, two besties, and you made them gay for each other. Again, you can wrap your head around, you know, maybe there's a good reason for this. I don't know. I'm not at that point in the game yet. Haven't played it for myself. Haven't seen it for myself. But it feels like shipper nonsense. Okay. Despite all this, the game has continued to climb in sales, in peaks. You know, for 24-hour peak right now, it's sitting at 190,000. So the all-time peak continues to rise. Tomorrow, Saturday, or this morning, I should say. If you're watching this, it's Saturday morning now. And the peak will probably break 200,000 because most people are not paying attention to all this drama online. They're just not. They're the normies. They're the fortunate ones, or the unfortunate if you want to get into the culture war and say we need to do something about all the woke weirdos infesting the video game industry. Now today, we have this article that came out from Fandom Pulse, and I'm not going to get into my own personal feelings about the nature and discourse around the people that are working at Fandom Pulse, or a lot of people have been, you know, dogpiling on John Del Rose and John Trent and stuff. And I just, at this point, I just want to distance myself from all that. I want to be on my own side at this point, guys. I want to have my own nuanced takes and have my own personal opinion about a lot of this stuff. Article here says, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 features graphic depiction of child sodomy. Now, there's been a lot of issues that I've had with the coverage of this game from outlets like this for the last few weeks. Most of it goes back to the idea that for some weird reason, Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 is this based, wholesome Christian game that promotes good Christian values, and that the game itself is inherently good. And that the sequel is a massive departure from the wonderful, you know, roots of the first game being this game based and steeped in good Christian morality. The games are not Christian. They are set in a Christian time period. You can do what you want to more as far as your own morals go. You can play as a Christian. You can do a good Christian playthrough of Kingdom Come Deliverance. I'm almost guaranteed of it. But that means don't steal, don't murder, you know, don't go whoring with the bathhouse. Like, there are so many things that you will have to intentionally not do that if you don't do those things, you're not fulfilling a Christian playthrough of the game, guys. So we need to make sure that our hypocrisy is in check, because stop calling something Christian if the entire game gives you the option to do all sorts of despicable, degenerate things, okay? That being said, that's been a lot of the narrative, and it definitely feels like people who didn't play the first game have been critiquing the second game all to death, right? Now we have this situation with Hans Capon, because it has come out that Hans, in the Codex for the game, according to his Wikipedia, the Fanpedia site, was based on a character, based on a real-life person who was around 15 years old. And I say around because there's caveats to this. There's reality to this. So, of course, now the narrative is your playable character, Henry, who was heterosexual in the first game, is now a homosexual man, or has the option to be homosexual, and can have a gay sex scene with a minor. Very gross. I'm the first person to say that's disgusting. Okay, I already don't want to see gay sex in my game. That's why I was going to play straight. Secondly, I am very disgusted by the notion that they would even try to put a scene of that type on a screen with a character who's supposed to be a minor. Now, here's the thing. After looking at all the evidence for myself, playing through 30 plus hours of the first game, interacting with Hans in the beginning of the second game, he's not a 15-year-old. He's not a 15-year-old child. He is a, I'm guessing, late teens to early 20s man. Now, again, you can say he's supposed to be 15. Fine. The portrayal of the character, if you don't have the Codex to go off of, or the Wikipedia entries to go off of, there's nothing about the character that would tell you he's a 15-year-old. He does not act like a 15-year-old, he acts like a spoiled brat, but he looks like a man, talks like a man, and everything else. So, that being said, I asked Daniel Vavra to please clarify this, and this is one of these things that pisses me off about Daniel Vavra, and I've been very, very vocal about this. He only responds to the trolls. If I try to be nice, and I try to be nice, and I try to reach out like a civil human being to get an answer, I get nothing from him. So I asked him about this to get clarification today. This one guy, I'm going to butcher his name, and if you ever see this video, buddy, I am sorry. I'm not trying to mispronounce your name. Otakar Shone, I assume is how you pronounce his name. Says, Von Owlitz died in 1402, yet he is alive and kicking in Kingdom Come Deliverance. The actor was past 20, talking about, again, the person who played Hans, doing most of the motion capture and voiceover for Hans in, Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. You're looking for a problem that doesn't exist. I told him, I promise I'm not looking for a problem, but I'm looking at people who are making an issue out of this, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm not promoting a game that, promotes pedophilia, right? I'm just looking for clarification. That being said, he is somebody who is followed by Daniel Vavra, somebody who's followed by Warhorse Studio, by Toby over there. He is a tech journalist. Maybe he's got some insight that I don't have. I don't know. That being said, a lot of other people have pointed out that this bears repeating. This guy here, guys, I'm so terrible. I'm just going to say Conchirotism on Twitter. Since this bears repeating, Hans isn't 15 in the games. He's been aged up for the story and had an entire DLC in the first game where he had sex with women. Okay, very interesting. So again, no moral outrage for the first game, but now one article that alleges that he's a minor in the second game, and now we have outrage because it's a gay sex scene. Again, you guys, I don't want gay sex in my games. I don't want any sex in my games, to be honest. I don't want to see sex in my games. If it exists, fine. I just don't want to see it personally. The historical figure he was based on was 15, but it was very clearly changed to make it make sense with the game. He then goes on to say, also, since it bears explanation, no, Vavra did not call Hans a child. And what he's talking about are these tweets from earlier today. This guy here, Lars, says, if you decide you want a love scene with Hans in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, you are committing pedophilia because Hans is 15 years old. You cannot even make up stuff like that. Vavra responds and said, imagine that women at the time were married at the age of 12 and had children. Also, they needed witnesses during the first sex. That's disgusting, but I guess that was just the time period that they were living in. Lars responds and says, if you were aiming for historical accuracy, why are there no children in the game? Okay, now, full stop right there. Vavra then responds and says, so there are no children, but Capon is a child. You seem kind of lost. People have taken this and ran with it as if Vavra is, for some weird reason, admitting that Hans is a child. What he's doing is he's showing that this guy is speaking out both sides of his mouth. And Daniel Vavra's first language is not English, so obviously there's some translation errors going on here. Lars says, if you were aiming for historical accuracy, why are there no children in the game? Because they could be killed, killing them is bad, but having sex with them is fine. Okay, bud. Again, Daniel Vavra's pointing out that you just said there's no children in the game, so clearly Hans is not supposed to be a child. And again, until Daniel Vavra comes out and says Hans is not 15, then I can't definitively speak to the fact that Hans can't possibly, in any, in unspeakable terms, be 15. I'm just going off of what I've put together based on looking at the evidence of both games, playing part of them for myself, looking at the evidence that we have in the Wikipedia entries, and everything we've seen from the characters themselves, and it doesn't make sense that he would be 15. Okay. Luke Dale, the actor that plays Hans, I believe is 31 years old. You can see him right here next to his character from the second game. Neither of these people look 15 at all. Okay? I'm just throwing that out there. Then you have people talking about Henry's age, because nobody talks about Henry. Henry is supposed to be anywhere from 16 to almost 30 years old, based on the information that's flowing around online. One person on a Kingdom Come Reddit thread from 4 years ago said that he found confirmation of Henry's age that he's 27. This was from the publisher Deep Silver, and at the time, the publisher in the interview said, yeah, somewhere around that, I don't know, and then it came out later on that he had no idea what he was talking about. This guy says that's been debunked several times by the devs on their own live streams. Will Powers, the guy from Deep Silver, was just guessing out loud. Henry's supposed to be around or slightly older than Hans Capon, meaning 15 to 16. Now this, again, there's caveats to this. Henry and Hans, if they're both 15 or 16 years old, both engage in sexual encounters with women in the first game. They both steal, kill, drink, whore around, all this stuff. My assumption would be that they're not children. Even if there's an age that they had in their mind, they wanted to portray them as adults. So that right there should alleviate this entire issue. They're adults, whatever. Don't even put a number on it. Just say they're adults, right? Person here on Reddit went on to say the reason why they aren't officially stating Henry's age is most likely that Henry's depicted in sexual content, and in many places it's illegal to show characters under 18 in those situations, and I think that's fair. Or they aged them up, which is what a lot of people have said, that they believe that they aged them up. Now, this is the Codex entry, and I'm going to save your eyes. I'm just going to go over here to the Wikipedia page, the fandom page, that references the Codex, because here's something interesting. Hans Capon is based on a real-life character, real-life person, right? If you notice here in the Codex, what do you see after the year born, 1388? Question mark, okay? Question mark. Why is there a question mark? Because they don't know how old this person was. They don't know when they were born. Jan of Perkenstein. I'm going to cut out the middle part of his name because I am not from the Czech Republic. I cannot pronounce that. I'm not even going to try. Says he was born to Jan Jesek of Perkenstein, likely in 1388, given that some sources declare that he came of age in 1406. Okay. So there's 1388 with a question mark because they don't even know what age this person was. And again, in the Codex, something people point to, and they go, it's in the first line, that they say that he was the underage son of Jan Jesek. Again, I can't pronounce that name. Underage by medieval standards, guys, and I'm not, please, do not do the thing that everyone's doing on Twitter, spurging out, calling everyone else a pedophile, okay? My point is simply the term underage in the context of the Codex entry does not mean the same thing underage means today by age of consent laws. Again, he was underage as in he was too young to rule. There were plenty of child brides, as disgusting as it is, in the Dark Ages. So I don't think the term underage in the Codex means below the age of consent. I think it means he was too young to rule, again, too childish to rule, whatever, what have you. Take your own interpretation of that, if you will. But again, based on a person that we don't even know the actual age of by the year 1403 when the second game takes place. The one last thing I'm going to touch on this is, again, while this, I am not an expert in legal, the law of all this stuff, guys. For everything I've looked through today in talking to people about this, if in any way these video game scenes are ever to be interpreted as obscene, as actual pornography of any kind, they'd be breaking the law, right? Because even depictions of children in most countries, the United States being one of them, are protected, or, children are protected, even virtual ones, by US law. Now, again, this mainly pertains to pornographic material, obviously. However, the reality is, if this game does have a minor engaged in a sex scene, doesn't matter if it's gay or straight. Again, we can be grossed out by one more than the other. I understand that, but again, doesn't matter if it's gay or straight. Can you imagine the legal implications of a publisher, a studio, and then it has to go through the ESRB ratings, it has to go through every country's local board of ratings, and then making sure that, again, the whole Saudi Arabia ban, again, is about the content of the game. So sure, for Sony, they might have had some reason that Saudi Arabia said, we don't want this on our PlayStations in Saudi Arabia, but Steam's okay for some reason, I don't know. And it could very well have had to do with graphic sexual content, absolutely. We just don't know how many people would have had to have their hands on this game, double checking, triple checking things to make sure that everything was legal and above board. So the reality is, to me, it just doesn't make sense that these characters would be minors. Because can you just imagine, what would be the point? What would be the end game, the end result of making them minors? Okay, sure. If you believe these guys are the devil and that they are excessively woke and that they want to promote weird, creepy, degenerate stuff, then I'm not going to stop you from believing that they intentionally put a scene in there depicting minors engaged in gay sex. I'm not going to try to convince you otherwise. Like I said, I'm more than happy for you guys to respond, to share your opinions or comments. I don't have to be right about this, guys. I'm willing to know when I'm wrong. But to me, this seems like something that has gotten so blown out of proportion, and I'm sorry that this video is dragging on. I know we're like at 20 minutes now, guys. I just can't make heads or tails of what the hell is going on with this game. So I'm going to leave it right here, guys. I'm going to just wrap it up. Please, please, please tell me what you guys think about all this stuff. This is to the point where I don't even, like, I just got done streaming the game for about an hour, and I'm sick of it, guys. I just want to unplug from the internet and play the damn game and see for myself if it really is as bad as some people think it is, or if it's the greatest game of all time like other people say it is. So share your thoughts down below, guys. Try to be civil in the comments. We are all just trying to sort shit out. It's okay to have an opinion. Feel free to share it, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.